What's up everyone, my name is Vu and I'm here to give you some advice on how to buy a car in 2022. How do I know this? Well, I bought like 10 cars in my lifetime and I recently just bought my new pickup truck, 2022 Nissan Frontier Pro-4x back in 2021, October. But right now the market is pretty much the same, which means you're just paying a lot more than you're used to paying in any other year, meaning you're likely gonna have to pay MSRP for new cars and the used car prices will be a little bit higher. But out of no circumstance ever should you pay for markup unless it's some type of wild ass car where there's like literally only one on the planet or something of that nature. But this day and age, if you're buying a new car, likely you're gonna have to pay MSRP, and if you're lucky, maybe $1,000 under there, but that's about it. But be warned, the vast majority of dealerships out there will try to get you to pay a markup, $5,000 to $10,000 on pretty much basic vehicles. In my case, a pickup truck.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm the one who emailed you about the 2022 Nissan Pro-4x.
Oh yeah? We have the truck.
How much is it gonna be?
We give you a good deal, man. Only 50,000.
Nah, man, I'm not paying anything over MSRP.
Yeah, but it's low inventory.
No thanks, man. I'm willing to pay MSRP.
But you get a 10?
I'm willing to sign paperwork right now at MSRP, no problem.
But you get a car what?
No thanks, man.
But you get a free N95 mat?
Nope.
But you get 2 oil change.
All right, man. Thanks for everything. I think I'm gonna just leave.
Let me talk to my manager. I talked to my manager and he say, I can help you. We can do $4,999 over MSRP.
Don't pay any markup. How you avoid that is you just have to search for a dealer that is reasonable. So what I did was I called a bunch of dealers, I contacted a bunch of dealers, and the one dealer that I found for my truck was literally 2 hours away, out in some rural area, and they're willing to sell me the truck for MSRP. At the time, the truck wasn't even at the dealership yet. I just went on to the Nissan website and looked up a truck, and they had a truck coming in that I wanted with all the specs, Pro-4x, fully loaded and all that stuff. And I contacted them, we worked out a deal on the phone, and then pretty much just emailed back and forth like the contract, all this, that, and the other, the agreement, and how much they wanted in my trade-in. I'll get into that in a second, and everything was good. So that comes up to my next point is always just email or at the most call for information. Don't just walk into the dealer. That is how I've been doing all of my negotiations since after I bought like my first car coming out of college. Every other car I've ever bought after that, I've always negotiated my deal via email before I even walked in the door. If it's a used car, check the Carfax, this, that, and the other, and then you tell them, hey, if all the car checks out when I get there, this is the deal I want. And this is what I want for my trade-in, this is what I want for my car. All the numbers should be good to go. All you have to do is walk in, look at the car, drive home. And if the dealer does not want to deal with email, they say, oh, you have to come in, don't even deal with them. Always just work via email, because once you get in there, you're gonna be there for 4 or 5 hours and they're gonna try to like nickel and dime you for every penny. This day and age, and pretty much any time, any financial expert will tell you that buying a new car is usually a bad idea. And fine, yes, if you're like super financial guru and you're giving people advice on what to do in life to perfection, yeah, probably buying a car a new car at any given time is not a good idea financially. But come on, you only live once. You want to do this, you want this car, you value it. So in this life, what you value is more important than anything else, and it's understandable. You want to buy a new car. Suggest if you don't have a car at all and you just need to buy a car this day and age, just buy a used car. But if you're gonna buy a new car, make sure you have a trade-in. I mean, if you absolutely have to buy a new car, like I said, hey, it's up to you. Just don't pay for markup. But I highly recommend you have a trade-in. And I know a lot of you guys out there saying you should definitely just sell a private sale before you walk in to the dealership and have them rip you off from the trade-in. The reality is, to sell your car, you're gonna have to put a lot of effort into trying to sell it. And it could take a month, 2 months, whatever. And then that car that you want in a dealer lot may just pass you by, especially with low inventory these days. But a lot of people don't know is that you actually save some money on the sales tax, depending on what state you live in, if you go in to the dealer with a trade-in. To find out if your state qualifies for this tax credit, search on Google. This is how the sales tax credit works. You walk into the dealer and you see the car and it is worth $20,000 in terms of like overall taxable amount after fees and all this, that, and the other. $20,000. Your old car, used car, it doesn't matter if you've paid it off, you owe some money on it, whatever. Let's say after they give you a good value and it's $10,000. Cool. Now, instead of paying sales tax on a full $20,000, because you have that $10,000 trade-in, you only pay taxes on the difference between new car and the car you traded in. So you only pay taxes on the $10,000. In my case, my truck was like $45,000. My trade-in was like $16,000. I ended up saving $1,000 in sales taxes, which is pretty much what I would have gotten if I would have spent 2 months trying to sell my car on the used car market, private sale. I would have got that $1,000 or so back, and it would have broke even. It's just so much easier to just trade in your vehicle. To make sure you're getting a good value on your trade-in, you want to look at KBB, you want to look at Edmunds, you want to look at NADA values, see like a baseline. And also go into cars.com, Auto Trader, whatever, car gurus, whatever, and see how much similar cars are selling for at the dealership. So if you have a 2016 Mazda CX-5 like I had, you want to look for a 2016 Mazda CX-5, same trim level, same everything at other dealerships, and see how much they're selling for. And my opinion, a reasonable trade-in value is like $1,500 to maybe $2,000 under what the dealerships around your area are selling your car for. I think it's fair for a dealer to make $1,500 on a used car sale. That's just me as a businessman. And obviously it also aligns with what KBB says that, you know, a really good value for your vehicle should be. And it seems like most of the time it's around that $1,500 mark. And that's what I usually aim for.
We can give you $15,000 more than what you owe.
Oh, for real? I was actually thinking I should get a little bit more than that.
It's a good deal, man. You owe $1,000 on the car. We give you $15,000 more. That is $16,000.
From my research looking at KBB and cars.com, it should be worth like $20,000.
Let me talk to my manager.
Never do that. Never agree to the dealer saying we're going to give you X amount of money over what you owe. Because what you owe, let's say your car is worth $20,000 on KBB. And then the dealer tells you, we'll give you $15,000 over what you owe. You're like, wow, that's a good deal. Let's say you only owe $1,000 on the car note. That means they're going to give you $16,000. Your car is worth $20,000. That's why they try to trick you. They give you like these good deals over what you owe. Or like even if you owe $15,000 and the car is worth $20,000, they're saying we'll give you $2,000 over what you owe. And to you, it's a good idea because you're not upside down on a loan. You don't have to pay anything back. But the reality is you're losing out on $3,000. Always go based on what the car is actually worth, not what you actually owed. Every used car I've ever sold, I owed some money on it. I knew I wasn't upside down on it because I knew what the value of the car is and how much I owed. Another thing before you go into the dealership should be pretty obvious, but you should know what you should qualify for in terms of interest rate. And if you're not paying complete cash for a car. But I always recommend not to pay the car in its full value in terms of I always recommend not paying a car in full when you walk in. The reason is, obviously, the interest rates on a car, unless you have really bad credit, an interest rate on a car is usually lower than what you could probably earn investing. So what I'm saying is if your car loan is 2.9%, you could probably hold on to your cash, just pay that monthly payment for that 2.9%, hold on to your cash and invest it in something that could gain you 5, 6, 7, 8% return. And you're probably better off that way, because what you earned on interest on your investments is more than that interest rate of the car. And if you were to pay that car off, you wouldn't have that cash to invest and you won't make any money. That is the idea on that. Always make sure before you walk into a dealer that you know what your, credit score is. You know what you should be approved on. If you have really good credit, 700 plus, there's no reason why you shouldn't get like the best possible interest rates on your car. In my case, I had a choice between 0%, 36 months, or 1.9%, 60 months. I chose the 0%, 36 months because, I'm able to pay that higher amount. 0% financing, 36 months, that's free money, which means I could just pay that monthly payment. In my case, is like $620 a month, but I also get to hold on to whatever the money is that I still owe in the truck, so I could use it for other things, invest, things of that nature, things that actually make me more money than obviously pretty much paying nothing on interest. Just quickly recap, never pay over MSRP, especially in this market. Yes, MSRP is definitely high in my opinion, regardless, but in this market, what can you do? It is what it is, 2022, low inventory, you're gonna have to pay MSRP. And if you're lucky, you get a little bit under it, but I would never pay over MSRP for pretty much a standard vehicle. Like, even my car is kind of quote unquote rare, Pro-4x, 2022 Frontier. It's not a freaking it's not that rare. It's not like a freaking, I don't know, special edition model of anything. So no, do not pay over market. Do not pay over MSRP. The other piece is have a trade-in, know the value, and try to take advantage of the sales tax credit that you could get by offsetting the cost of your new car with your trade-in, but also only paying taxes on the difference between the new car value and the trade-in value of your old car. Make sure you know what you're going to get approved on. Make sure you have your financing in order. If not, just have at least an idea and know what you're capable of getting, so that when they give you the number, everything ties up. If you know you should get that 1.9% or that 0% financing, but they're telling you it's 2.9, you call their bluff, tell them to look at it again, and likely they'll come back and tell them, oh, they made a mistake, some bull crap.
Let me talk to my manager.
And of course, before you do any of this, before you go in, email them, communicate everything online before you go in. I actually made the mistake. The first dealer I went to for my Pro-4x is I went in because I thought it was gonna be just a simple thing because I'm about to like quote unquote pre-order a vehicle, and I ended up being there for like a half hour, wasted an hour driving there. And it was pretty idiotic on my part. So don't just walk into the dealership. Email and try to communicate with a bunch of dealers online, get the deal that you want before you go in. And that's about it, guys. I know it's very tough these days to find a good deal and buy a vehicle in 2022, especially if it's a specific vehicle that you're looking for. But at the end of the day, it's really all about what you value and what you're willing to pay for. And a lot of dealers know this. And I also understand that a lot of dealerships, the reason why they're doing these markups is because they need to make money somehow, and they need to make as much money as they can on this one sale because there's pretty much nothing else for them to sell throughout the month. So what they're doing is on a regular market, maybe they sell like 5 cars a month and they make $5,000 or something by selling 5 cars a month, but they only have this one car to sell and they want to make all that $5,000 on that one car sale. And that's probably what the market adjustment is for. But the reality is the market adjustment is usually something very egregious, and they're taking advantage of the consumer for thinking that there's some type of desperation for cars. But matter of fact, if you're buying MSRP, if you're buying a car at MSRP, you're already paying a markup, because normally on a normal market, people never buy cars at MSRP. And if you've been doing this in the future, never buy a car at MSRP. You're always getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I've even seen $5,000 under MSRP most of the time on most vehicles. So that is that. Hope this video helped. This is my first video on this particular channel. There's a new channel I'm doing just about my truck, my life, whatever it is I want to do with it, fishing, this, that, and the other. If you like that kind of stuff, please like, subscribe to the channel. If you like filmmaking, videography stuff, that's my main channel. Subscribe to that, link in the description below. That's it. Till next time, lighten up.